With the Loreno brothers video SEO audit. So from the beginning, it is hard for me to tell exactly that this is a construction business or contracting or landscaping or anything of that nature. Just from the words itself, I've got Loreno brothers there, Loreno brothers here, and the logo without the pre-existing context that I know what you do might lead me to some sort of landscaping specifically. But what we would typically want to have is like Loreno Brothers construction or contracting, or the Loreno Brothers plus what you do and maybe where you do it as a title of the page. The initial blurb here: a tradition of old school craftsmanship rooted in time, tested engineering, and building fundamentals experience to help with your renovation project. That really sounds like it's trying to say a lot, but I can't hear exactly what it's trying to say. So a little confusing there. And we also lack exactly the specificness of what it is that we do, as well as where we do it. Because one of the key things that we want to do with SEO is mention what we do and where we do it, so that that can become more relevant for when Google and users are hoping to find us and to have us show up. So then we've got old school craftsmanship along with this section that bleeds over the edge here. Kind of strange. It makes it hard to read. I mean, I know what it says because we can do this and go over a little bit. Having elements pour over the edge of the screen is not ideal. It can ruin the user experience and might look funky when we get to mobile as well. So customer service hours from 11 to 7 seems like an odd place to have it because it doesn't, that would usually be in like a contact section or a more info type of section. So just strange for it to be there. I mean, your pictures and your videos are very nice, but I think there's a better way to use them. So, and then we've got a welcome section down here, which a welcome section is usually a little higher up, but even then I would still kind of avoid the welcome to thing and just use this as another example to talk about who we are, what we do, and where we do it. And also we differentiate here from Loreno Brothers to Loreno Inc., which can be some a sort of inconsistency, which can be confusing. Rooted in tradition, call us to discuss how we can apply our expertise. This is where we'd say what sort of expertise to help bring your modern, contemporary, or traditional vision to life. So we're getting close to alluding to what we're talking about there, but adding construction or renovation, something to that text would help it to be more specific so that Google and the visitors would know what we're talking about. Again, we got very nice imagery that can be repurposed and used a little better to get more to the point. So now we've got the services section. Now this is where we actually get into the some of what we do, which is good. But what I would be hoping to do with the new website is turning each of these sections into an individual page, a specific service page. That way they are more likely to show up when people are searching for that service specifically. So rather than just one sentence here about roofing, we'd have one page about roofing and we'd expand the text and have a call to action so they can call, they can see the contact info, they can fill out a form and get in touch with you that much easier. So again, I think this here reference to the GTA is probably the only reference on the page that has to do with geography. Everywhere else, you will not see that. You don't see anything that says Toronto or the more specific areas that you may prefer to operate in. So GTA being the only reference is not the best because Google still thinks GTA is Grand Theft Auto, the video game. So we want to add specificity and that geography mentioned so that everybody knows where we're talking about here. So modern innovation. This is where I start to come apart from what we actually do because the innovation and modern combined with some of the imagery and the trees makes me think more about energy and environmentalism. That might not be a bad thing in the sense that it's good to put that in the mind of the user, but without being crystal clear about the construction, the contracting side of things, we might be making people think that we're just into like alternative energy or something like that here. And then we've got our our filler paragraph. I'm a paragraph. Hello, paragraph. And then I think there's another one of those here. I have a paragraph, filler text, and then now we're coming down to create your custom home. So that's good. Now we're actually getting into something that looks a little more like what I would be after, a section that is about custom homes and then has the buttons. Um, so again, we get into this overlapping text, which makes things hard to read. Overlapping elements like this, that is something I would definitely seek to avoid. Again, very nice imagery. Let's put it to good work. So text that seems to be overlapping or hidden due to being under other elements, kind of crazy. Forums like this are great. I like having forums. That's what I use for most of my clients to get their leads, because a lot of people, a lot of the visitors tend to be just kind of, whether they're tire kicking or just trying to get a feel for a company. It's an easy way for them to commit without committing. They can fill in the form and get in touch. And we got this footer, nice imagery, but these scattered elements making it hard to see what's where and what does what exactly. So that's kind of it for the general overview of the structure. But then if we were to look at something like the heading structure, which is the content of the page in more of that back end stuff that Google sees, home, the title of the web page, home Loreno Bros. So again, that lacks the specificity of what it is you do and where you do it, because that's a great place to say contracting, construction, custom homes, or renovations, and then add to that where you do it, because the title is one of the most important places that Google will try to figure out what your site is about, as is the description. The description a little less important, but it's a great place to signal to the visitors in Google what they can expect when they click through to your page. It's sort of like a sales pitch that also needs to make sense to both the users, the visitors, and to Google. Um, and then headings would be like all of the big titles above everything. So we want to make sure we got a nice clean heading structure, because that's kind of what Google uses to identify. So the page structure in terms of headings isn't as bad as some of them I've seen, but it's a great way to say, what's this page about without reading everything? So modern homes and services and all the individual services. You do kind of get a gist from that, but there are ways to make that much more specific and exact to what's being done and where we would do it by just expanding them outward a little bit. So like modern homes and constructions, and just making it more specific. Images. So all images on a page should have a background alternate title and a background title. And those are just things, pieces of information that tell Google what the images are about. So all of the images on the page do not have either a title or an alt title. Those are just, again, other opportunities to send signals about what this page is about to Google. And schema. So we are lacking schema data, which is another one of those background kinds of information that you can send to Google to tell what the page is about, what type of business it is, and the geography of it. It's like there's various layers of information you want to send out, and by just going through and filling all of these, adding all of these pieces of information, you're creating a whole picture of what your business is, what your website is. So by giving more information to Google, they can better understand what you are and therefore how to categorize and rank you accordingly. So, yeah, and right at the top of the page, kind of going back into getting users, visitors to contact you, I always like to have either a button or a form right up top along with the phone number, so that people who are quick to decide have that there to fill out. Some people shop really fast and they make that decision really fast. They want the button, contact us. They want the form, they can fill it out and just get on with their day. So we want to make it easy for those people who are quick to contact, but then be sure to have everything you need below that for the people who do want to learn a little bit more and read a little bit more before committing to their contractor of choice. So, I mean, you do have just a one-page website. I was able to squeeze a little bit more out of the video for just the one-page website, which is great because there's a lot to discuss. Again, making individual service pages is one of the key things that we do, so that you can say have a landscaping in the Toronto area landing page, a general contracting in Toronto landing page. And that just helps to make everything more specific, because that's what we want to be, specific and just authoritative. We got to know what we're talking about, so we're going to mention those topics more and more throughout the page without being spammy. And the other thing was trying to find this business page of yours on Google was a little difficult until I just tried it. Loreno Brothers, Toronto, and then yep, this is you guys. So if this is accurate, that's great. But there's definitely more data. We can add hours here. We can add a description, and we can add posts here, kind of like social, which is another great way to indicate to Google that you have checked all those boxes, that you are providing data everywhere that you can to make the most out of your online presence. And that just gives them more happiness to show you up higher in the results, and hopefully lead to more business. So yeah, I'm sure there's always more we can go into but that's a pretty good broad overview to let you know what sort of things I'd be looking to change, expand on, and just in general making it look a lot better and more user friendly, especially on mobile. So there you go.